Non-Japanese otaku cannot have nice things. What do I mean by this? Fans of Japanese entertainment have more options than ever to choose from. We have Funimation, a company that provides physical merchandise as well as streaming services. We have Crunchyroll, a company that specializes in streaming of anime. And another service, which is big on mobile, is called Verve, spelled VRV. Many games from Japan, including visual novels, have been available for a long time, mainly on console. But with Japan's ever-increasing presence on Steam, PC gamers have more Japanese entertainment to choose from than ever. Before the virus, there were many conventions happening every year dedicated to anime, where you could go to panels, buy exclusive merchandise, and meet in person some of the Japanese geniuses behind the entertainment we know and love. But in this time of easy access to Japanese products, a darkness is brewing just under the surface, and it is noticeable to those who are paying attention. So let's get into it. I will start with Funimation. At a glance, there seems to be nothing wrong with Funimation, right? They provide English dubs and subs for anime, and we watch it. Maybe when the company was first formed, that's what their goal was, but it has become increasingly clear that the people currently at Funimation have agendas. Funimation seems to get squeamish when it comes to sexual content in anime. In the anime Bofuri, the character Maple is interviewed. One of the questions was, anything to say about the event? In the Japanese dub with subtitles, her answer is, I took a pounding, but I liked it. Realizing what she just said, her face turns red and she becomes rather uncomfortable. Harmless, slightly lewd joke, played for laughs. In the English dub, her reply was, well, it was tough, but I'm happy. She meant to say happy there, and the implied reason her face turns red and she looks embarrassed is because she said a word she didn't mean to. If you watch in English, you would be none the wiser, but people who watch subs and are more than just casual fans of anime notice these things. There was another translation gaffe for Kaguya-sama Love is War, where a line was translated, what's with the social distancing? This was an obvious reference to the shit show the world is going through right now, and people who just want to be entertained with escapist entertainment and forget about the real world were rightly pissed at what happened. The subtitles were later corrected after fans made enough noise about it. And another screw-up, Funimation censored a butt joke in the anime Nekopara. Once again, this wasn't just the English dub. They altered the subs as well. So unless you speak Japanese or hear from someone who does, you would never know there was a problem. One of the characters combines the word oshirari, which means acquaintance, and the word oshiri, which means butt, to make a portmanteau literally translating to ass-quaintances. Instead of using the word ass-quaintances, they used the word hipster, which I believe is a combination of the words hip and sister? YouTuber Hiro Hey did a video on this and notes that translation issues from Funimation go all the way back to 2013. So they have been at this for a long time now. And of course, just about every anime fan who watches anything beyond the mainstream shows knows about Funimation's recent cancellation of interspecies reviewers after only 3 episodes. Now they refuse to relinquish the rights to someone else and are just sitting on it. To be fair, I suppose, this show was too hot even for some Japanese networks. The only way to watch this show now is to sail the 7 seas and watch a fan sub. My final example comes from the anime Prison School. In episode 7, a female character says to a male character, do you have a stick up your ass, or are you one of those dumbass Gamergate creepshows? That was the English dub. The subtitles are dramatically different. They say, you keep talking to me like we are on equal terms, but I am a second year. You have to address a superior more politely. This is particularly infuriating to me. Gamergate was a movement to keep politics, social justice bullshit, and censorship out of video games. While I do not condone the actions of some individuals associated with it, I wholeheartedly support the spirit of the movement. Furthermore, Gamergate was not a Japanese movement, so it has no business being referenced in anime. Funimation has a long history of censorship and mistranslations because the humor or subject material offends them or because they want to push an agenda. Now that Funimation is getting on more and more anime production committees, they will be in a position to tell Japanese artists what we Westerners supposedly want to see. Anime as we know it could start to look different, and not in a good way. All we as fans want is accurate translations, and we often are not getting that. Moving on to Steam, Steam has been somewhat okay when it comes to the release of Japanese visual novels and other Japanese games, but they are not perfect. Steam will drop the ban hammer on a title very quickly if they even think that a fictional character who looks underaged is in an inappropriate situation. Never mind the fact that we are literally talking about the product of someone's imagination here. Many games released on Steam are sanitized first for a broader audience, because so many people have a problem with the tastes of Japanese otaku. Sometimes you can buy a decensor patch after the fact, either on Steam or from the developer's website. Some titles, though, are forever altered. The Princess, the Stray Cat, and Matters of the Heart, an adult visual novel, was censored for Western audiences. Right now, the only place you can buy the visual novel and get an English release is Steam. There is no 18+ patch. If you look at the game on its Japanese website, however, all of the adult scenes are intact, but it's in Japanese. Currently, getting the Japanese version is the only way to experience the game in its original form. One angry gamer maintains a list called the Waifu Holocaust, or some similar name, where he keeps an ongoing list of Japanese games that never saw release on Steam because standards. Steam will even ban games after release. Recently, Bokuten, Why I Became an Angel, was removed from Steam after the publisher, Manga Gamer, went to great lengths to make an all-ages version. It was eventually restored after enough people complained. Sadly, this sanitization for Western audiences is considered by many developers an acceptable price to pay in order to get the massive exposure that comes with releasing on Steam. Speaking of Manga Gamer, we can't even trust companies that are supposed to specialize in bringing us accurately translated Japanese products. In the game The House in Fata Morgana, there was a point where the word tsundere was translated to fragile male ego. Now, the problem with the word tsundere is that there is no direct English translation. If you ask me what yes is in Japanese, I can reply immediately with hai, which is spelled H-A-I. Yes in Japanese has a direct English translation. Tsundere does not. I know what it means, but that is because it took many words to explain the meaning. Words with no direct translation should be left intact. If people are interested enough, they will look them up. This was not only an inaccurate translation, but also it felt like an attack on men and masculinity. Sometimes translations are not deliberately inaccurate, they are just bad. I was reading the comments on a YouTube video about the Final Fantasy VII Remake, and one commenter said that he understood both Japanese and English, and according to him, the English translation was horrible. Finally, I will give a short mention to a man named DJ Kirkland, who was hired recently at Viz Media. This man has openly voiced support for censorship and altering of dialogue to suit Western audiences. One of his more telling tweets on this matter reads, "Regardless of that, with the US being one of the biggest markets for anime and manga, There is going to be conversation between stakeholders in Japan and here when it comes to creating content that appeals to more Western audiences. The anime industry is a business. I'm sure I have covered only a portion of the examples out there of censorship and mistranslations. The industry has become infested with activists who hate the art form and cannot accept it for what it is. They find it problematic. They need to censor this, mistranslate that, or change things to push their politics. Literally, the only way to make sure that you experience Japanese entertainment the way it was meant to be experienced without any mistranslations or censorship is to learn Japanese and buy the product straight from the source. And this is why non-Japanese otaku cannot have nice things. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great day.